I made some dinner earlier. I put yours in the oven just in case.
No, thanks. I just came down to get a glass of water.
Look, Rue, I've made a complete shambles of this whole thing. I should have been more upfront about what was worrying me right from the start.
You still don't get it?
Oh, come on, love. Give me some credit for trying to make things right.
I can't unhear the things you said about me, Dad. I mean, don't you understand how much that hurts?
Well, yeah, but we all say silly, throwaway things from time to time that we don't really mean.
Okay. Look, I'm just going to say this once, all right? This little project of mine, as you say, is not a whim. And I will be fostering. I'm not going to change my mind about that.
I can see that.
Yeah, so you and Mum can be sceptical and you can doubt me as much as you like, but I'm doing this with or without your support.
Well, nobody said we wouldn't
See you in the
support.
morning.
We are Si and Sophie. This is Coastal News, a home and away podcast, your weekly episode companion podcast for your favourite Aussie soap.
Right, let's try and be really enthusiastic.
What?
I know you're. Hello, Sophie.
Hello? Are you all right?
Are you? I don't know. I don't know
no.
anymore. I don't know.
Oh,
What a week. What a
I
week.
know. Oh, I'm tired. Are you surviving?
I'm here. Made
You're
it
here.
here.
Yeah.
The journey was tough, but I'm here at the recording studio. Yabby Creek podcast recordings.
Oh God. Stick Pig Productions. Yeah.
Downtown Yabby Creek.
Yeah.
Oh, how's your week been? You okay?
I'm glad it's over. That's about all I
Mhm.
can say. Not looking
Mhm.
forward to next week, but you know, we've got pod to do in between that, so I can be distracted for a bit. So yeah, I'm good, thank you. Are you?
Yeah, I asked how you were, not how home and away was. Oh gosh, it's been a chore, you know. I've struggled this week.
I haven't like found it dead boring, but I think off the back of the last 2 weeks being absolutely nuts, this week
Yeah.
has felt a bit flat, and it's been a bit like, oh, okay. I'm probably
Yeah.
quite glad of it, to be honest, because I've had so much going on. I couldn't really concentrate on a third
Proper
week.
easy viewing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Third week of drama. I'd have been like, oh God.
It was just a bit Bremy heavy for me, and I don't care about any of that. I think that's what it
Oh,
was.
I like that. So
Mm,
yeah, I didn't
mm,
mind.
mm.
I don't really listen to what he says. I just kind of look at him, to be honest. So yeah, it's fine.
Well, he doesn't listen anyway, so there's no point having a conversation with him.
That's true.
Good Lord. Good Lord. Yes, it was the lull aboard. Well, there was a few sort of high, you know, a few plots going on this week that we've been leading up to. Mainly, the big thing everyone's talking about is obviously the whole affair reveal and
Yes.
Levi facing what he has to face. So that all came out. So there have been some things, but there's not been nothing happening, let's face it. So there's and some new characters as well towards the
Yeah.
end of the week. So we have had, it's one of those weeks where we had to recalibrate, I think. So hopefully I'm feeling a bit more in it next week, shall we say. But that's all I can say on the matter, really. Do you want your headlines?
Sure.
Levi finally tells Imogen about his affair and moves in with Mac. Rue decides that she wants to continue with emergency fostering. Theo starts counselling but needs to simplify his life to make it work. And Stevie is back in the bay, but with an entourage this time.
Please take the time to like, subscribe, and review Coastal News wherever you source your podcasts, and ensure you never miss an episode.
Okay, so this hasn't really been a big story thread this week, but it's where we picked up from the Friday cliffhanger the week before. If you remember, Dana was clamoring around on Xander's bedroom floor looking for a phone that she tossed aside in a moment of heated passion the week before, and had left it at his place. And if you remember, she'd avoided him all day, and there was all this, you know, childish stuff going on, wasn't there, that we spoke about at length at the end of last week's pod. And Xander's come home and he explains to her, as awkward as it was, I was going to make breakfast for you and I was going to be a gentleman, but you snuck out like a hooker. And and it's all just awkward, isn't it? But it does eventually get resolved. Like all things between couples on Home and Away, communication happens eventually, and they do end up basically agreeing on this walk and talk on the beach. Love a walk and talk. Can't even say the words without saying I love it. That they do like each other. And let's just give this a crack. I think we might be going steady. Let's go steady, as if we're 15. And yeah, they don't regret it, and we're now more than friends. Let's kiss. And Dana and Xander are an item, and I do not hate it. I really like it.
Yeah, they work, don't they? There's chemistry. I think I can see them as a couple. It makes sense. They're both kind of foot in mouth syndrome, aren't they?
Yeah, overthinkers.
Yeah, but they kind of blurt stuff out. They're overthinky, but they also overtalk, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of blurt stuff out before thinking it through, and then they overthink the mistakes that they've made, and sort of overthink the whole, does he like me, or was this a mistake? And he's doing the same thing with her, like, oh, I guess because you left, it meant you regretted it, or did you regret it? No, I didn't regret it. Did you regret it? All of that. They're quite similar, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it kind of
you're right.
I think.
The other week, I think I said that they're going to be a force to be reckoned with where the couples are concerned, and I really do stand by that with the way they've got together.
Definitely now.
What I want is for them to not have any dramas. Like, I want to see them. Let's go to the Reefton Lakes to watch a film, and and they do like loads of coupling dates, and I want to see them. I want to see the courtship. I don't want there to be on and off, will they, won't they, drama all the time. Who are you texting? Oh, I never see you. You're always at work. Oh, why are you letting Mac walk all over you? Oh, you're always at the hospital working nights. I don't want any of that. Like, I just want to see them caught. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Uncomplicated.
And I think that'd be refreshing. Yeah.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
A lot of the other couples in the Bay are kind of falling apart right now, aren't they? I mean, I've still got eyes on Marley and what's the name? Rose. You know what I mean? I've got eyes on them. I think they still look a bit shaky, although they've been slightly better this week. But there's no real competition in terms of couples, is there really? Apart from maybe Eden and Cash.
And as fans, we need a big ship to get our teeth into, don't we? Yeah. Marley and Rose were odd this week. Like, she's sitting on the counter for a start. That's
that was
in my book.
I'm sorry, that was gross.
Yeah.
Like pajama shorts.
Yeah, she had her ass all over the bloody worktop.
Oh no! I really wanted him to get the anti-back wipes out after she got off that. I was like, "You're gonna make food on that? You don't sit on your counter. You don't sit on the counter." Am I a bit OCD? I really hate that.
No, obviously I'm with you though, because that's all I could. I didn't hear anything about that happened in that scene.
Me too. When Mac walked in, I thought she was gonna go, "Can you get off the kitchen counter with your ass?" Like,
that's what I just said.
Gross. Toilets are for sitting on.
Great. Now I've got to set fire to the fucking kitchen. But I'm surprised if they did, have a late lie in and a bit of rumpy pumpy. I'm surprised she didn't ask him for a warrant to go in.
maybe he had one prepared. You never know. Maybe they did a bit of reversal role play where he had to get a warrant. I don't know.
Let's not think about it because my spine's just gone. But yes, you're right. Other couples don't seem as strong, so let's give up on it and let's. These two, I think, are going to be great together. I really do. Right. speaking of couples forming, have we got a couple now with Mac and Levi? I don't know, but we join her this week, agonisingly waiting to hear from Levi, who you'll remember's gone home with his duffel bag that it's attached to wait for Imogen to get home from the conference. The jig's up. It's out the bag, isn't it? The secret, and he's going to have to come clean to her. He's gone home to do it. It feels like we had the weekend, so it's probably only like the next episode, but it felt like she'd been sat at the farm for like 3 days in silence, wondering if he's said anything to her or not. But it was probably because we had the weekend. It was a bank holiday as well, so it feels longer, doesn't it? And she's all checking her phone and all the rest of it. She's not heard anything, so she does give him a ring in the end, doesn't she? On advice from nearest and dearest, and checks in, and he says she's not back from the conference yet. Now it turns out she wasn't, but I was like, is he lying? I don't trust the fella. How's anybody else going to trust him?
They're not going to be able to trust each other, are they? Well, we don't trust them.
No.
I thought he was lying as well. And do you know what? I did think this was really weird because he said to her, oh, her flight keeps getting delayed and she's not back until the morning. Okay, so he sat there at home in that house on his own. Why is he not phoning his girlfriend, in inverted commas? Why is he not phoning Mac and saying, oh, I didn't need to rush back in the end. I could have stayed there. How are you? These two don't talk. It's just weird.
I know. And it was strange. I thought the same thing. Like, my wife's been put on the red eye instead, so I'll come back to the bay and.
Or at least give her a phone call. Like at least phone Mac and have a conversation. This is again another reminder to me that this isn't a proper relationship. He's not texting her and saying, "Oh, she's delayed. I can give you a call if you want. Are you free? Or are you at the restaurant? Or you know what I mean?" Like he's told her not to text him when he's with his wife, but he's not with his wife, so why doesn't he want to talk to Mackenzie?
I know he's not. Yeah, he's not said anything. He's not said, "Oh, she's not here. We can talk."
No, it's weird, isn't it? Is it
it's very weird. No, it's very weird. I mean, they reckon they love each other, but I think we're just caught in a moment. I just think they're caught up in it.
Yes.
Yeah. He does assure her though on the phone because even Mac doesn't trust it now. Like, so. You know, she's all like, are you having second thoughts? Like, you're sitting there stewing, like, where's your head at? She needs to know. Even she needs reassurance from him that he's still going to go ahead and do it. And he's like, Mackenzie, I assure you, I will end it. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe he will. So even there's signs, isn't there, from very early on that we're going to have trouble here. Imogen does actually come home eventually, and you know she's knackered. He's like, we should talk. He's being very intense. She's not even out of the taxi, and she's trying to get in the house and have a shower and brekkie and all the rest of it. I think personally, like she knew something was coming. He was weird in the bay, where you know last week before she went away to the conference. She's got home and he's sort of following her like a cat going, need to talk. That's not normally a good sign. I think she was stalling. I think she knew something bad was coming. I don't think she knew quite how bad when he eventually tells her in their gorgeous kitchen that looks like a blooming advert for a kitchen company. And she is blindsided by it, isn't she? But I think she knew something was up.
Well, she'd been warned, hadn't she, by Eden that the kids thing. She thought it was the kids thing. So I think she was expecting him to say, "I don't want kids," and she'd have to deal with that and the fallout of it. So she probably, I mean, to be honest, if you just got home from the airport, the first thing you want to do is to have a shower, get the plane germs off you, get some food, and sort of feel a bit normal. You don't really want to have the "I don't want kids" conversation at that point, do you? I think I would be the same. You know, I need to go upstairs and have a shower. I know what this is about. I know it's really serious, but I'm not in the right headspace right now.
Yeah.
I kind of understood that, I think.
Same. And if she thought, it's going to be a tense one, I'm going to need a shower. you know,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
a full stomach. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he tells her. Now, do you remember I was saying to you, he will not tell her the full details. Woe behold,
Mm,
I was sleeping with someone. I thought,
mm,
yeah, leave out all the details, fella. Leave them all out. Oh, what
yeah.
a pig.
Yeah. This wasn't cool, really. I mean, if you're going to tell her, why not tell her everything? Why not come clean about everything? Like,
And his vagueness leaves her with more questions. Who,
mm,
when, where, how long, what was going on? All this time been working away. Is that what you've been doing? And he's all like, doesn't matter, doesn't matter. Well, she's asking, it matters to her.
mm,
That's why she's asking. Just because it doesn't matter to you and it suits you. Oh
mm.
God, I'm getting on one. You know, like,
Yeah. He's
of
protecting
course
Mac,
she's going
isn't
to have
he?
these questions.
He's
Yeah, I mean,
putting
well,
Mac first at this point
yeah.
because he's like he
Mm,
realizes that Mac's cocked up. I think he's still actually really angry about this, about the fact that Mac went up to her and introduced herself, and then he knows that Mac invited them up for coffee. Mac took it on herself to say, "Come up, I'll shout you a coffee." I think he's
yeah,
still fuming about the fact that she's done that because now
yeah,
he's trying to protect her because he knows if he tells Imogen, I mean, what's the first thing she's going to do? She's going to go, "Well, I met the bitch," isn't she?
yeah, of course. And it's going to
So
bring problems to Mac's door as well.
yeah, and
Um,
he wants a quiet life. He wants to run back to Summer Bay with his tail between his legs and just hide out
pretend
at
he's with
Mac's
his
house.
sister. Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't want Imogen coming rocking up. She knows where they work. She knows that she owns Salt. She could rock up at Salt and make a big scene. He's the local, heart specialist or whatever. It's going to make him look bad. He's thinking about himself. He's protecting himself. He's protecting Mac, and it's gross,
Well,
really.
while all this is going on, Eden's down in the bay
Mm.
shouting at Mac in the restaurant, "You home wrecker!" Like, um, so
Yeah.
yeah, so Mac's not getting off scot-free regardless.
No,
Um,
I'm just getting an earful
and
from Flick,
this
isn't
is
she?
still this is still pretty contained at the moment as far as
Mm.
Summer Bay is concerned. I mean, it's not the least judgmental place
No.
you'll arrive at. So I do wonder when things get out and a bit more widespread, are we
Mm.
going to be getting sort of locals tut in and things,
Yeah.
she's getting a hard time off um old Flick there, isn't
Mm.
she? Which didn't seem to.
Yeah, she's gonna get.
Mm,
I think she's gonna get a hard time with people, or at least a raised eyebrow or a comment. Some people aren't gonna care as much. Obviously, Eden and Flick are the closest to it, so they're gonna actually, give a crap. But people are gonna comment. It's just normal, isn't it?
yeah, but I think Felicity might be going a little too far, to be
Do you
honest.
think? Really?
I think she's a bit intense. I think it's a bit like
Flick,
I
intense.
was. I was saying the same thing because like in Friday's episode, there's a big bust up between the two of them,
Mm,
and Mac's like, "It's none of your business," and she's like, "Yeah, it is," and I'm thinking, well,
mm,
how
mm.
really? What, like, it's not like it's your family that she's doing it to. But having said that, before like lynch
He's-
mob comes for me,
Eden's like her
um
sister-in-law, though.
well, that's true, that is true, yeah, but that's a weak link in my opinion. Like, I wouldn't
Mm.
get involved in my sister-in-law's no, wait, you know what I mean? Like, it's not someone directly related to her that
Yeah.
it's happened to, like, who she needs to defend to the hilt. Do you know what I mean? Um, but having said that, Mac, you could argue, was the catalyst for the end of her marriage.
Oh yeah.
When she was keeping that thing from Tane, and Mac gave her that ultimatum. You
Yeah.
need to be honest with him and tell him. I mean, there was a line, wasn't there, from Felicity? She's like, because she's like, well, you ruined your marriage. She's like, well, at least it was mine and not somebody else's. And I thought, well, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that is very, very true.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, she's not going to give her an easy ride because of that, because she's still angry with her for that, isn't she? So
mm,
yeah,
mm.
it's not just about Eden. There's loads of layers to this.
Which is why it's so fascinating, to be honest.
Yeah.
So back at the city, Imogen's kicked him out, hasn't she? She said, "Pack your bags, get out." So she's asked him to leave. He skulks over to Mac with tail between his legs, but then he's snapping at her,
Yeah.
giving her, he's horrible to her when he gets back to her house. And you're just thinking, I mean, the guys that there was a line, wasn't there? Do not tell me how to handle my marriage. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
marriage you just imploded
Yeah.
with this woman that you're shouting at.
Yeah.
Good, give me strength. How can you like this man? He vexes me so much.
I know. I don't think he did I don't think he did the right thing here. Like, shockingly, Levi making a mistake and all that. I don't think he should have run straight to Mac at this point. I think he probably
No.
could have done with going away and getting his head together, check
Yeah.
into a hotel somewhere, get his head
Mhm.
together, and then go round and say, "Look, Mac, I've told Imogen I want to be with you. Like, what does our future look like?" And then have that conversation when he's ready. But he's not. He's just
Yeah.
gone right round there and going, "Oh, I wonder if Imogen's okay. Maybe I should give her a call. Maybe I should do this." Oh, that's not cool.
No. And
Like-
Mac's spending days going, oh, leave her, let she needs time.
Yeah.
And he's texting her on the sly, and oh God.
But Mac shouldn't be counselling him through his breakup of his marriage. This is on him. And
Exactly.
Mac's part of it. You know what I mean? And she shouldn't be saying what to do. And it makes me really uncomfortable. I really think he should have gone away and worked on himself and then come back when his head was ready. Because, like you say, snapping at her, I mean, the cracks are there, aren't they? This relationship is not nice.
No, that's it. Imogen immediately opens a bottle of Savvy B, and I'm like, go for it.
I love this because not long before this, she said to him, "Have you had breakfast yet?" And he goes, "Oh, no, not yet." She goes, "I'll make something." And then within a few minutes of her finding out that he'd been having an affair, the wine was open. I was like, "Yes, girl, you go for it. It's 5 o'clock somewhere."
If ever there was a time for breakfast wine, it's when you're kicking your husband out. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh God. Yeah. So
poor
she's
girl.
got the wine open and she's on the phone to Eden, isn't she? Straight away. And it soon becomes apparent Eden knew. So that's a whole thing that goes on between them. And actually, I really, really applaud Eden here. I know she doesn't get a lot of love out there in the fan base these days, but rather than go and blame her brother and not right away anyway, but rather than be like, she's just rang me and she's now falling out with me and this is all your fault, she did something about it. She got in the car and she went down there to Imogen and went, "You need to hear what I've got to say. It's not what you think, and I'm going to make you hear." And then when Imogen, as soon as they get to talking, and Imogen learns that she's only just found out and she is just as sickened as she is, that she then has a confidant in Eden, and I think it's a friend that she really, really needs, because I think you said last week she strikes you as someone who's quite lonely, shouldn't have a lot of friends around her, which adds to the whole sort of timid, hard done by image, doesn't it? So we all collapse at the thought of her being hurt. That's deliberate with her character, really.
Yeah.
So I really loved that Eden went straight down to Imogen first, before anything else. Did you?
Yeah, I think this was really important. I think it filled in the blanks, and I think this is again another example of where the writing has been really good, because we're seeing these conversations and things are getting sewn up, because we're sitting here going, well, this happened and this happened, and a lot of the time you either get conversations that have happened off screen and then we hear about them from a third person later, or we don't see it or hear about it at all. And then we're sitting there going, why didn't she say this to her? Why didn't she tell her that, it's been going on and she didn't know about it and whatever? This was really nice to see, because it was like following up, stitching all those stories together, her able to say, yes, all those times he came to the bay, he was using me as a shield, but I didn't know at the time. I thought it was the kid thing. I thought he was avoiding you because you wanted kids and he didn't. I didn't know anything about Mac.
Yeah.
So that's why I told you that. It wasn't a lie, because when I told you that, that's what I thought was happening. And it wasn't, wasn't trying to mislead you. He lied to me and I passed the lie on. It was nice to see that, actually.
Yeah, girl power. Yeah, I thought it was nice as well. And then I thought it was good that sort of Eden goes up to the farm later. I mean, let's self in. and she says, "Stop messaging her." Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah, in front of Mac. Oh,
mm,
that was interesting because Mac
mm,
had said to him, "Oh, don't message her. It's not a good idea. Leave her alone." Blah blah blah. And then he's
mm,
obviously done it behind her back because she was talking to Marley,
mm,
wasn't she? And he went off to the corner and texted Imogen. I really like
mm,
that. The fact that
yeah.
he's now found out like that's happening.
He's
And
already lying to her. He's been there
yeah,
2 hours.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
texted his
Mm.
ex behind her back. Ooh. And then she was like, "Oh, so you
Mm,
texted Imogen?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, this is interesting, isn't it?" Yeah, I really
yeah.
like that scene because it was just
I
nice
just
to
like,
see her face just kind of drop when
and I love
she
the
realised.
entrance.
Yeah,
I've just walked into your house. I'm not here to talk to you.
yeah.
It's like,
Oh
yeah.
no,
Now she
awkward.
does during all these chit chats, she has accidentally let slip that it is
Mm.
Mackenzie, hasn't she? So,
No, she didn't say it wasn't accidental. She said you met her. It's Mackenzie. She was very
oh well,
to the
well,
point.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It was
Um.
yeah, you met her. Her name's Mackenzie. She owns that that restaurant, the one that you had a drink in. Yeah.
Yeah. Eden's not fussed now. What
No,
damage? Because
no.
the damage is done, but she's not fussed. She's well and truly cementing her allegiance there, isn't she? And
Yeah,
demonstrating to Imogen that I'm here for you. Like, and what tea do you need? I'll give it you.
yeah. Because
Um,
Imogen says, "Oh, she's your friend," and Eden says,
yeah,
"Well, not anymore."
not anymore. Yeah, 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 it was really good. It was really good.
Yeah.
I just said to you tonight, I messaged you going, I've had more explosive thoughts. Um, can't believe we said that on a pod. Um, like I just wanted her to like throw plates at him and like scratch his eyes out, and then like make his nose bleed, and I just wanted her to like
I think
you
there's still
know
time for that, though. And when you texted me, I was expecting it to be really, understated and her not really being really apathetic. That's because you were texting me and you were like, "I've watched it and it's not actually that explosive," and I was like, "Oh."
mm,
And I think because of that, I was waiting for Imogen to sort of be like, "Oh, okay, you had an affair. Oh, okay, and you're leaving me. Okay, bye." And it wasn't that. I think she was really angry, but I think she was in shock. And I
yeah,
think we've been told for weeks there's nothing wrong with this marriage. Imogen's a nice person. Imogen's thinking about having kids with him. This came out of absolutely bloody nowhere. She's getting herself ready to say, "Okay, let's have kids in a few years." And then he goes, "Nah, not even that. I'm leaving you for someone else
mm,
that I've been shagging behind your
mm,
back." I think she's so blindsided by it. I kind of got it. And I think now that she's got a name, now that she knows, okay, not only have I met her, but he's been going off and seeing her behind my back and texting me, "Oh, I'm at work." And I've been feeling sorry for him being stuck in the city. And I've been feeling like isolated and alone, waiting for him to come home. He's used his sister as well. It's not just me he's been lying to. He's been lying to his sister, who he's only just made up with after all this time. I think
yeah,
once she starts to think about all this stuff and the fact that she now knows it's Mackenzie, I think there has to be a bigger explosion later. I think she has to come back to
later
the
on.
bay. I think she
Mm,
has to. I think it's going to have to explode. I'd have to go to the bay and see Mackenzie again.
yeah, and rip her wig off or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. This woman had the audacity to walk up to her and invite her into a restaurant and say, "Oh yeah, I'll shout you a coffee," and "Oh, your husband's great. He fixed my heart." All the
Mm,
time while
mm.
she sat there, she knows
The
that she's gonna.
magic touch.
Oh yeah, she's gonna play that conversation back in her head. And she's
Oh
gonna be
God.
lying there thinking about it and drinking a savvy beer and getting angry and angry and angrier. And I think she's a pressure cooker now, and I'm waiting for it to. Yeah,
Mm,
I think it could explode. So you could
mm.
still get what you wanted, I think.
I hope so. I need a big showdown, and if to be fair, if it's between her and Mac, fair dues, because I think Mac's great at the big
Yeah.
big pieces. Is Emily Weir? So yeah,
And
hopefully.
maybe this is how the whole bay finds out, because maybe it all happens as a big showdown
Oh.
in Seoul, and Mr. Stewart's there trying to have his dinner, and he's like, "Bloody hell, what's going on?" Do you know what I mean? Maybe this is like how the whole bay finds out.
Could
I
be,
mean,
couldn't
I'm
it?
probably running away with myself. We'll find out on first look, won't we? But this is what I'm
Mm,
thinking. Like, she's a powder keg, and
mm,
she's gonna go. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, let's find out. Oh, well, it's out anyway, so that's a weight off.
Oof.
And we'll see where we go from here. We've not seen the last of Imogen. I think we both agree.
Mm.
Now, someone we have seen the last of, or we thought we had this week, was Rue, as Maz and Alf were worried sick about her. Basically, since she'd been and visited Sonia and that baby,
Mm.
which I assume they're somewhere in a facility or some, getting help somewhere. Surely they're not at home already. She's just left. It won't be unsupervised if it is at home, will it either? But we know Rue's been visiting her and Babby, don't we?
Yeah.
And I nearly said Malf and Raz. Maz and Alf. They've not seen much of her. She's not at home when they get home either. And Maz is trying to get through to Alf, like, oh, do you not think it's weird? I've been texting her 3,000 times and she's not replied. And he's like, Struth, woman, leave her alone. She's a grown woman. But they get home and she's not there. And there's no note. And it's all a bit odd. And she's like, you got to admit, Mr. Stewart, like, it's a bit strange. And I'm like, oh, God, she's been kidnapped. I said, is the kidnapper about, You know what I mean?
I was ordering a
not-
wreath. I was on the phone to the florist. Can you get me a wreath for Rue?
We'll just go with an R. I'm not paying that much.
Oh, dear.
Next day comes, and it turns out she did come home, but she was out till all hours. And eventually, Rue gets Alf on his own, and she says, I need to have a talk. I still want to be an emergency foster carer. How do you feel about having little Sprogs running around the place again? And I'm going to tell you, it was written on his face. He's not very happy about it.
The guy's 134. He doesn't want waifs and strays in his house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm. So, but the viewers want to see it, so we're doing it.
Fostering's back.
Fostering's back. Flag.
Can you all stop tweeting it now?
Yeah. We're back to the roots. Fabulous.
Oh dear, sorry.
Be funny if her first foster child is called Carly or something.
Oh yeah.
That'll kick them all. Yeah.
Or has a surname that's similar, like the Matheson's surname is. Everyone's still tweeting about that. Does their surname mean anything? Well, I don't know. Like, we haven't been told anything.
They're playing with us. They're playing with us with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely playing with us. Unless they sort of retcon them into Steve. Because what's their dad's story? I forgot now.
All we know is that their parents were drug addicts. And I don't think Selena and Stephen were.
No.
Unless something went really bad.
So, but that could happen. It's
but
not
they could
beyond
be.
The realms.
I mean, Stephen, his parents died in a fire, and that's why he was in foster care. But maybe he's got a secret brother that had kids. I don't know. Who knows?
Let's just not think too it. They're just playing with us. They're playing with us.
I don't even entertain it because I'm just like, yeah, whatever. It's just an Easter egg. It's just an Easter egg. Ignore it.
Yeah. So it'd be really funny when Rue's adopting some little nipper called Sal. Will be funny.
Yeah.
Now, he thought his rearing days were behind him, he said. And he doesn't seem too happy about it, but says you need to run it by Maz first, because she lives here too.
Did you see Rue's face when he suggested this?
I thought something was going on here. I thought not another argument with Maz. She looked like she really didn't want to do that, didn't she?
I know. I still think, like, I don't know about you, but Rue obviously is friends with Marilyn, but I still think there's this underlying jealousy because Mr. Stewart treats Marilyn like a daughter, and I think it rubs Rue's nose up the wrong way. I don't think she likes sharing dad, you know what I mean? And when she when he said to her, like, well, you need to get Marilyn's, okay on this as well, it was almost like he was putting their sort of views on the same level, You know what I mean? Like they've got the same amount of say, which they do, because as housemates they'd have the same amount of say on this kind of decision. But I think it
Yeah.
just puts her nose out of joint that she has to share her dad with Marilyn. I still think there's an issue here.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we need to keep a closer eye on that. I noticed the expression, but didn't read into it. But you're
Yeah.
right. And and now I'm thinking about it. Now you're saying that. When she does eventually gather them, and the pair of them, and she says, "I want to be a foster carer," and it means bringing kids into the house, and Dad thinks it's a house decision. She says
Yes.
something like that, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And that's a bit smarmy, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
and Dad thinks you need to have a say. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a bit strange. I do think there's a weird kind of, because she's basically an only child, isn't she, Rue? And she doesn't really like sharing her dad's attention with Marilyn, I don't think. Or the fact that
Well,
he treats Marilyn on the same level as he treats Rue. He sees them both as the same. I don't think she likes that.
yeah, obviously she isn't an only child, but I know what you mean. Like, she's the
But
only one.
she acts like she is, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Because she gets
I mean,
all daddy's attention, and when she doesn't get it, I think she feels a bit put out. And the fact that her dad treats Marilyn the same as her, she kind of thinks, well, I'm your daughter. Marilyn's not your daughter. I don't think she'd ever say it out loud, but I do think it's there.
yeah, I see that. I do see it. Mattie's thrilled though. She's thrilled. Alf's outvoted. It's going to happen, but there's an issue, isn't there? And Alf's not happy about it, and he believes that she's running away with it. She's leading Maz up the garden path. He's on the phone later on at the surf club to, we presume, Martha. And she overhears this conversation, doesn't she? She's approaching the office, and it kicks off like, somewhat rotten, doesn't it, between the two of them? He's alfed it, I think. He was concerned, wasn't he, that it's too much for her. I was hoping he would say, like, this is given Martha's Junior's situation, and all that, and she's out there somewhere, you're never going to know her. Do you think that's playing a part in all this? What's that bringing up to you? I was thinking we were going to get a conversation like that, because it's an issue we've skirted round through this whole baby Tani situation.
Yeah.
We've only sort of nodded to that, haven't we? We haven't said it.
No.
So I sort of felt like, oh, we're going to go there. We're going to go there. And then we sort of didn't.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's where Alf's concern was coming from in my gut. I don't know about you.
Yeah, and do you still think it's weird that we haven't had they haven't actually said Martha, they haven't said the name Martha, but we've had a Ryder mention this week.
Well, yeah.
A blatant
Yeah, because
Ryder.
he's really, really unhappy when we've got to give up Ryder's room.
Yeah, what about Ryder? Okay, well, we can mention Ryder, but we've had all these conversations about, oh, this must bring up memories for you, Rue. This must bring up the past for you, Rue, and the past and the memories. And Martha, why are we not mentioning her? It's weird that we've not had the name. You know what I mean? Like you say, we're skirting around it, but we're not saying
I
her
don't
name.
know whether it's this thing, isn't it, about Home and Away looking back too much, too far. And the newer viewers, the younger, it's a different thing, different beast nowadays. The younger ones will confuse it with Martha, the mum, maybe. I don't know.
But they don't even say, like, they haven't even said because you had a baby, then you gave her away. They've not even been so if I was picking this up now, I'd be like, what's in her backstory? What's she done? What are they talking about? Who?
Yeah.
When?
Yeah.
It's all very cryptic.
It is. It's so subtle. We needn't have bothered. Like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's this big elephant, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we're all just like, don't look at it. And I don't understand why, because that's a huge Stewart-ish thing that happened. Right in the slap bang of the Stewarts. It's a massive part of their story.
Yeah.
As a family, I don't understand why we have to pretend it doesn't exist.
No,
I don't know.
I don't either. I don't know why we can't openly say, is this because of the baby that you had that you gave away? Because
Mm.
Martha Jr. was on screen for a number of years, wasn't she?
She was, yeah, and I wonder if it's. I mean, she's out there on the run, isn't she?
Yeah.
So then we're sort of criminalizing them all, and I
Yeah.
don't know whether that's an image we want to tarnish. Maybe too much water under the bridge. It's a different era now. I read a comment. I think I sent it to you, didn't I? Sort of last week. It was online. It was someone was saying that Home and Away is the forever shape-shifting soap. So
Yes.
like
Yeah.
it's viewed as a completely different thing
Oh yeah.
in this era than it was then.
Yeah.
So needn't
Yeah.
think about it. It's a shame, really. It is a shame for
is.
us that have been here for just a
Yeah.
few years.
I think you're right though. It's like either mention it or don't mention it. Either mention it properly or don't mention it.
Yeah,
Don't half
because you're just going to
half-arse
cause
it.
confusion. Yeah, like you say, if you're picking this up now, you'd be like, "What's this bloke's problem? What's her problem? Why is she doing this? Why? Why she got this need to help? Like, there is
Yeah.
a reason. Maybe it'll come out because, like, things are sort of the way
Yeah,
like
that's
you're
true.
talking about the way
Yeah.
things are being written and things are being more interwoven these days.
Mm.
Perhaps it'll come out. Perhaps it's to come. Who knows?
Yeah.
But they do. I know you talk about sort of her wanting to be the only child. She regresses into this like bratty teenager again, where
Yeah.
she's sitting up in a room and she only comes downstairs for a glass of water and then goes back to her room again, and if she's missed dinner, like, are you just
Yeah.
like, come on, that's like 12-year-old in a grump in your room on your phone, innit? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
She's middle-aged.
Yeah. I know.
And she's sitting in the bedroom.
She is infuriating. Yeah. I mean, is she on is this the redemption arc for Rue? Because I'm still fed up with Rue, I'll be honest.
It could be. Yeah, it could be part of that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm still seeing like the cracks with Marilyn. I think she's still a bitch to Marilyn ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah.
That doesn't seem to be going away. I mean, it's very in character with Rue, but it doesn't seem to be going away. So I'm just keeping an eye on her because I'm just not sure about you, lady. There's something about you that, yeah.
Yeah, we need to watch that, don't we? Definitely. Well, Alf gets on board, and in the end, and by the end of the week, we're all happy and waiting for these Kiddywinks to arrive. So let's see what happens. Summer Bay House could be full of laughter once again. But who knows? Right, Theo's back from counselling, and Leah offers a walk and talk because he don't want to talk much about it, does he, to anybody?
No.
You'll remember he's gone in for this drug addiction, which seems a bit. I'm laughing because it's like, it escalated quickly.
Yeah.
It's a few pills, a few benders, but it's just the way soaps are. It's an issue thing, isn't it? We've just got to go with it.
Yeah.
But it's unpacking a lot of stuff for him, and he realizes he's a lot of pressure on himself in his life. He's got this apprenticeship going on, doesn't want to let Justin down. He is the front man of world-renowned Lyric. Like, oh my God, that comes with so much responsibility. He's really struggling, isn't he? And he basically says, I've got some big decisions to make because the council has told me I need to simplify my life. So Justin and Leah have a chat about it, and he's ready to lose an apprentice again, isn't he? He's like, whatever it takes, like, I'm never open anyway, never at the garage anyway.
The business is shut. Where's the pressure?
Apprentice, you're going to fail anyway because you've not got enough hours. I mean, the TAFE thing's come up a bit recently when they've needed a reason for him to walk out the room, like, I'm just going to go and do some handsome tape work in, bye. But yeah. Now he then starts avoiding the band while he's going through this mixed up, because he does announce that he's going to leave the band this week. And he's avoiding Kirby, he's avoiding everybody, and in the end it ends up being this sort of U-turn, because Is it? Well, yeah. He sort of goes back to say, "No, I need to see it through. I need to get back on board. And everyone's counting on me. Kirby gave up this solo deal, and she's still sticking around. Why am I being such a pussy? Blah 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 blah." However, it's only a chat with Remy after Justin sort of breaks confidence and goes and tells Remy everything, and we're thinking, right, okay. And Remy's sort of like, mate, like. Basically, in a reassuring way, you don't have to pretend with me.
Yeah.
The only musos that are still around are those that sort themselves out, and that can be a Remy quote. Put that on his gravestone. So Remy basically marches him down to Brie and is like, sort this out, get a counsellor, blah 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 blah. So Remy's really good with him. I think Remy came good here for a friend, and it's Remy that talks to Kirby, or lets him talk to Kirby, and sort of gets him time off from the band without hassle. I thought Remy was an amazing friend to Theo. So Theo's on hiatus, as is Lyric for the foreseeable. Yes, that is a cheer you can hear in the background.
Oh, no.
But we have not seen much of Lyric. It's a really good way to sort of calm the Lyric down, isn't it? They've not been popular.
Yeah, it's like a tag team. This Lyric thing. It's like a tag team hiatus. Like, we're on hiatus because Kirby's decided to leave the band, and we can't play any gigs now. We can't play our music and blah blah blah. So that was like her sort of way of sabotaging the band for a little bit. And then she comes crawling back with her tail between her legs and says, "Oh, actually, I do want to be in the band. And okay, let's start doing gigs again." And then, oh no, Remy's been kidnapped and run over. So like now we've got to go on another hiatus. So we can't do gigs, and we'll let him. He's doing all his physiotherapy and everything else. And now he's starting to get his physiotherapy on track, and he's on his bike again. He's got a girlfriend. His life's back on track. Surely. Now we're going to have some gigs. We've done a wedding. There's going to be more gigs in the future. Oh, no, wait. Now Theo's going to go off the rails. He needs a hiatus. So no more gigs for a bit. When's Eden's turn? Mind you, Eden was in a coma, wasn't she, for quite a long time last year? So she did get a band hiatus as well. So it's very funny that everyone's having their own breakdown. And I think that's probably why Remy's been so good this week, because one of the reasons they've had to put the band down is because of him. So he can't exactly say, well, no, we've got to carry on gigging. Because
that's very true.
And Theo, to his credit, Theo has been working with Kirby while Remy's been incapacitated. Theo's been doing these duo gigs with Kirby, trying to keep the band going, what have you. So, Remy must be grateful to him for that, I'd imagine. And Kirby's been bankrolling the band, because we've got another mention this week about her going, oh, maybe I'll get a check soon for songwriting, and maybe that'll pay our rent. So she's bankrolling the band anyway. And it was her decision to leave the band, and she completely royally screwed up Lyric last year. Not necessarily her fault, because it was all Forrest and the contracts and stuff that she wasn't really aware of until it all came out in that explosive way that it does on a soap. But she can't shout at Theo either, because she's been putting pressure on him about the interviews.
Yeah,
she's kind of caused him to go off the rails, and now he needs a hiatus. She's had one. She's walked away from the band. So I think it's about time, really, that they gave him a bit of a break, like poor Theo.
Yeah, and to be fair to her, she does, doesn't she? When she hears that he's getting proper help and that, she's like, yeah, whatever you need.
Yeah,
gives a hug.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice to see that they were supportive of each other, because they've all done it. They've all had to have time out.
Yeah, they can't really say no, can they? Like you said.
No, not really. Not really.
And it just means we don't have to do these Lyric in a minute. It's not everyone for ages, and let's just keep this rolling, people. Right.
Do you think it's taken us this long for it to catch up? Because obviously when Lyric hit our screens, it's almost 2 years ago now, if you can believe it, in the UK. It's almost 2 years since, I think about 2 years ago, we started to see the Oz pace reaction of the band, and you and I over the summer that year, we were going, oh my god, what's happening? Everyone's on the hashtag complaining about this band and saying how terrible they are. We were bracing ourselves, weren't we, 2 years ago? And actually when they landed, I don't know if it's because we were forewarned, they weren't as awful as what we were expecting them to be, and we've gone in and out of love with the members of the band over the last 2 years. But do you think it's taken this long, this last 2 years, to get to the point where maybe at Ozpace they realised it was a mistake to introduce this band and they tried to pedal backwards, and here we
Probably.
are.
Yeah, probably. When you think about it, they film this show 6 months ahead.
Yeah,
We're then another 6 to 8 weeks behind that
yeah,
because we're, because
and they've got to write
because-
it. So
yeah,
when does
and
the when does the
they
script
probably
get written? Yeah,
well, the script's probably written quite close to shooting, but they probably plot the whole year out
yeah,
way ahead. You know what I mean? The year before, like
yeah.
these, so they. Having said that, they were probably up the Swanee with the whole. We ended up with this influx, this band, all at the same time because, well, we know why. It was well documented. So, how much of it was plotted, you don't know. How much has been changed, we don't know, do we? We've not got insider knowledge. But yeah, I imagine they probably plan way ahead of the 6 months is the filming gap. Like it's
Yeah.
probably another 12 of storylining and what the arc is and who's going where, and do you know what I mean? Like there's so many cogs to these machines.
Yeah.
With soaps. So yeah, that would probably put us like at least 18 months down the line from them hitting the screens. So
Yeah.
this is probably like, because we're not getting anywhere near as many performances.
No.
I mean, band meetings, they've slid off.
Yeah.
Like all the stuff that everyone was like, this is shit. This is pants.
Yeah. I think it's probably the back pedal. We're starting to see it.
Do you remember the music? You're like, oh, there's a lyric close.
You just hear the strummer from his guitar, wouldn't you? And then it'd be like, oh God, here we go.
And the whole, I mean, when you think about it though, in that time, they've accomplished a tour, an album,
One
a new
vinyl. Yeah.
Yeah, a new frontman, Bob and all that.
Yeah.
That like they've done a lot as a band since they've arrived, right?
They've been car crashed, they've been kidnapped, they've started drug addictions, they've got together, broken up several times, not just the band, but the people going out within the band. There's been a lot of drama.
Yeah, there has. But I think I prefer the drama stuff. I prefer the stuff that they've all individually got involved with. I mean, and I've stand by this because I said this back then. Out of all of them, Kirby's the least involved in the rest of the Bay, and that still seems to be a thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is a shame.
I mean, I think the character development of Eden has kind of gone off a cliff at the moment as well. She's only still got my interest really because she's with Cash, and she's got this Imogen Levi stuff going on at the moment. But she doesn't have anything else apart from the band. She doesn't have anything else herself. She's not.
Well, I mean, we all laugh. She doesn't work, but she has a partner. And she's involved in that stuff, and she's got stuff going on.
She does, but she doesn't do anything. So if you took Cash away, if you take Levi away, what does she have? Nothing.
Well, then she's Kirby.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Because Kirby, literally, every now and then, she writes a song and leaves the house.
Yeah.
Like, like that could be Eden, but at least Eden's got stuff over at Cash's house that she's in the middle of.
She has, yeah. I feel like these two need more.
Yeah, I agree. But I think that's been Kirby's, other than obviously Theo, but Theo's in the band anyway. Kirby hasn't broken out of that band bubble as a character.
No.
The others have, I would argue.
And Theo's got loads on. He's not just got the band. He's obviously got his family, but he's got TAFE as his own thing. The apprenticeship is his own thing. And then he's had the Valerie storyline. Yeah. He's had the Ava storyline. So...
Yeah, his dad. He's linked. He's linked to the Leah's family. So he's had all that with his dad and his backstory. His dad. He's been the best one. But I think that helps that he's related to Leah. That immediately opens your stories up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Your opportunities up right away.
Yeah.
Right. Well, should we talk about Stevie then? Being as though some of these lyrics are involved. So she's back in town this week with a crew, literally with a movie crew. and Bree staying clear, because that's all been a thing this week. Of the whole I'm over you, but I'm not actually, and it's the same the other way, and then there's this conversations not had or finished, and you're just thinking this is infuriatingly mind-numbing. For me anyway. And yeah, basically Stevie is on to Cash pretty quick, and she's like, I've got an idea. If you won't go to the movies are coming to you. And she offers him, a very perplexed Cash, a job of being her security again, which he turns down. She wants to bring this rom-com to Summer Bay to film. What better place, she says, to film a rom-com than Summer Bay, that vast expanse of water to look at and lure over your loved ones. And Cash isn't sold. He's like, no. And I must say, I don't know if I'm missing something I shouldn't have with this, right? Because I'm like, why is she so hell-bent on having Cash as her security guard and it needing to be Cash, and I'm going to pay to redo the cabin set and the ski gear and out of my own pocket? Like, this movie company would just recast her if she's being this awkward and insisted that it moves to this backwater. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a little too much of a reach for me. And Cash is also like dead against it, and the only reason he turned the job down was because he couldn't leave Eden. So then this solves his problem. So why is he still insisting on being dead against it until his arm's twisted? What am I missing? What am I missing?
Whatever you're missing, I'm missing as well. I'll be honest, because it doesn't make sense. I mean, he even says it to her, which is nice, because we get to hear them say our thoughts. He even says, like, why are you doing this for me? What are you getting out of this? And all she says is, I've only felt safe since I've been, you've been looking after me. You've saved me. You've been my bodyguard. It's the first time I felt safe. And he goes, yeah, but you are safe because he's behind bars. So if we're to take the storyline on face value, it doesn't make sense. Does it? It doesn't make sense.
No. I'm scratching my head thinking, why is she insisting on it being just him, and willing to, so much so that it's going to cost her potentially a hell of a lot of money to move this movie out of her own pocket, just so she can have this fella and then be her security guard, I must say. That could be a thing. And then why is he hell-bent against it when the reason he turned the job? None of it makes any sense. None of it makes any sense to me.
I think I can probably come up with a reason why he's turning it down. Yeah, I mean, I'm reaching because I'm just trying to put myself in his shoes. It's nothing that's happened on screen. But imagine this movie star is going to move their movie to your hometown so that to accommodate your life around the movie. That is a lot. I mean, for Cash, he's quite a humble person anyway. I think he'd be quite overwhelmed by that. I think it's quite an overwhelming thing for someone to say, this whole movie that's going to make millions of dollars, we're moving it all to your house because you don't want to leave your girlfriend. That's a lot. That's a lot of pressure to put on somebody. And it's kind of unbelievable. And I think I would be like, that's stupid and don't do it. Because if that's the only reason you're doing it, that's a really bad reason to do that. So I can kind of see why he's saying no, because that's huge. But I don't understand her reasoning for doing that, because it is weird.
I think Eden's going to find it weird when she learns about it as well, because even though it's it means he can stay in the Bay, I think she's going to be side-eyeing the whole thing.
It's lucky in a way that Stevie's got Remy, because if she was single, we'd all be like, oh, we know what she wants.
Yeah, that's very, 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 very true. And I mean, that's all gone a bit awkward as well, hasn't it? Because Nelson Man-Bun, not Nelson Mandela.
In case you mix up the two.
Nelson Man-Bun. He's the director. He's taken a shine to Bree, And Brie and Remy are doing this thing where they're skirting around each other, saying they're moving on, but actually, really hurting over each other. And there's this really awkward thing now where she's going on dates with Nelson
Bun.
and and he's dating Stevie, and if the movie's set comes to Summer Bay, although if Alf's got anything to do with it, it probably won't. There's going to be seeing a lot of each other with other people, and that's causing a whole load of melodrama, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lots of wine between her and Kirby this week.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, it's nice to see. We were just talking about Kirby. It was nice to see Kirby with Brie, because these two are kind of lone wolves, aren't they? Really?
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true, actually.
So actually, putting these two together is not a terrible idea. They're good friends anyway, but seeing them all together is probably a good thing. It is odd, this, isn't it? It is really strange. It's really strange because they're talking about how. I think both of them have said, "Oh, we've been through a recent breakup." I think they've both sort of uttered those words, "been through a recent breakup." But Stevie seems completely oblivious that it's Brie.
Yeah.
And obviously, Man Bun has no idea either, because he's only just rocked up, so he would have no idea that it's Remy and Brie that have just broken up. And she's mentioned this breakup, but not given any names, has she? So it's just all a bit like, awkward watching it.
It is awkward, and it's going to cause a load of nonsense next week, I'm sure.
More drama. Yeah.
Alf's not happy, is he? It sounds like he's going to rally the committee or something by the time we're next watching.
Have they got a permit?
Yeah. I'm not having 100 people tramping over the place ruining it. I'm thinking that's probably what the locals say about you lot filming in Palm Beach.
It probably is. There's probably a bit of meta there, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose that's their truck blocking the drive. Thinking, well, someone ought to, because the only up until this point, the best action going on out there was Mac and Levi grinding up on each other and then ruining lives in that car park they were last week.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I'm in two minds at the minute whether it's even going to happen and whether this is a fleeting thing. But Nelson Man Bun has a lot to say. He's got a lot of words, so yeah. Hold me in your